Welcome back, everybody, to another PCS countdown ahead of our PCS playoffs. Today, I am joined by Frank eSports' head coach, Skywalker, as well as their very, very extraordinary mid laner in Jimien. I'll start with you, Skywalker. Over the most recent split, there's obviously been some very high highs for Frank, some less high highs for them, and sort of struggling up against PSG Talon and CFO sometimes. But ahead of these playoffs, I mean, they're starting to look very strong. You took a very clean series over West Point. Do you have the confidence to sort of keep progressing through these playoffs, to take on the early stages, make it to the second stage, and then compete for the World Championship spot in that grand finals?
Yeah, I mean, of course, although we have a very rough start, I would say, like we have some issues inside and outside the team, but we are kind of like building the momentum towards the end of our regular season. And although we are not on the top three that on the higher group, but we still like try to do our best in the lower group. Also, if you have watched our games, then of course the games that when we play against HPS, it's not that very easy. Yeah, I would say like easy, but we still have the confidence to do better during the playoffs, and I think that we still have a very good chance to just roll the play-in stage. The first stage of playoffs, and when we go against DCG again, if they choose us, of course, if they choose us, we are still very confident to win the series, and even further, then we can go to Worlds.
Yeah, awesome. That's very pleasing to hear. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Frank eSports, and so hearing that you guys have confidence instills quite a lot of confidence in me. Now, Jimmy, and I'll ask you one question, because sort of on the note of DCG, I think everyone watching, whether you be from a Western audience or, localized in Taiwan, I'm pretty sure everyone's favorite mid laner, the most exciting mid laner that's been to watch, has been Chris Carter. Just because, one game he'll randomly pick Tryndamere. He's okay to play whatever AD carry, Draven, Callista, Caitlyn. Are you ever scared when you get into the pick ban, you're against Chris Carter, and just having no idea what champion he's going to play?
I honestly, I don't scare.
I'm the one who's scared. I'm the one who actually got scared.
Last time we played against DCG, I think we don't have very good bad pick.
Yeah.
So we lost last time, but if we play next time, we will do better.
You're excited? Do you ever get like, I guess Skywalker as well, you touched on it, you're scared. I think for me personally, if I was in your position having to do the pick ban against them, this Amumu champion needs some serious looking at, because that champ seems completely unstoppable for some reason. And do you think it's something that not necessarily Frank eSports, but just in general, most teams are now going to have to either find a counter immediately or just start banning it against them? Because that's kind of what happened last split, if you remember. They get to playoffs and it quickly got realized that you just have to ban Senna against DCG, otherwise Orca will play some random mage in the bot lane and just carry. So is it similar now to Amumu, do you think?
In general, though, this meta is very fit for them, because Chris Carter is playing AD last year, and he just swapped to mid laner, and this meta he can still keep playing all those his familiar champions. So that's why you can see during the regular season, he kind of like one of the best, or not the best, the best mid laner. They just outplay everyone. But replying to your question, yes. Every other teams are looking to try to counter their style.
Yeah.
And they did one against PSG, although the last game they lost to CFO, right?
Yes.
So there are some mistakes from them that I think for us we can try to capitalize.
Oh, awesome. That's really, really good to hear. And I think I'll just flesh out on that, looking to capitalize on their mistakes. I think one of the weak points, at least from my opinion, for that team has sort of been Taco in the top lane. And obviously Frank eSports, you guys have Yi Zhang, and that guy is just such a skilled player, I remember last split, that play he had on Aatrox, just 2v1ing, and that's something that he can kind of consistently do. Do you feel like that is a potential angle, that just Yi Zhang, get him on comfort and just start carrying some of these games? Because honestly, it seems like he might be one of the best, if not the best top laner, given a little bit more time to sort of get comfortable on stage.
Yeah, of course, we try to play around him, because, he really can carry our game. very easily. But at the same time, if you, just try to compare against DCG, like Taco, as you mentioned. Taco is kind of a, how to say, plays safe, or even when he loses, he knows how to try to help their team, like during the PSG games, if you remember. So yeah, we try to play around them, but around top laner. But like, I think the way to beat DCG is from mid lane and jungle.
You've got a pretty good sort of combination there to do it. Obviously, whether you use Jimien here or if Pretender's in, very, very skilled mid laners. Definitely two that you would argue are the best in the league. And on the sort of mid lane and jungle sort of way to beat DCG, I mean, Gemini and Jimien, they've played together a lot. Last split playing both splits last year. They played last split. Now they're playing again together this split. I think, honestly, Jimien, yourself and Gemini, you've always worked very well together, and it's always been awesome to watch. So I think certainly when you look at Frank eSports, that dynamic between this mid and jungle certainly has stuck around, and I would be very confident looking at them to be able to sort of, get it done. You guys are just so experienced together. Going into playoffs, experience means a whole lot. So I'm also feeling pretty confident that next time, if you do go against DCG again, you can probably find the win. Jimmy, I want to ask you another question. Now, you obviously, as I just touched on, there's you and Pretender in Frank eSports, and you're both very, very talented mid laners. Do you ever spend time, offline, just in your scrims or whatever, just 1v1ing each other, sort of learning different matchups? At the moment, it's a lot of AD carries. Maybe you're doing some Corki versus Lucian or some Zeri, Israel, or whatever it may be. Do you guys spend time doing that just sort of as practice?
Yeah, we do sometimes 1v1. But it's some AD champion matchup. Yep, because right now AD champion is so hot.
Actually, like sometimes it's Wako giving them advice. Because Wako also they played mid laner before, right? Yeah.
yeah, true. Yeah, that's a good point.
And he's like very good in like Corki, Zeri, this type of champions.
Wako, I guess on that point, he's like one of the best AD carries the PCS has ever seen. So now that there's 80 carries in every single role, I guess having someone like him will be very valuable to the team. And I guess, I'll ask that question to sort of both of you is, how do you think the team is different this split in comparison to last split? Because last split, you did have Eminem down in that AD carry position, and obviously he is a very, very skilled AD carry. This split, you have Wako, another very skilled AD carry, although arguably, I think they're a little bit different in how they want to play the game. So how does it change sort of Frank's dynamic as a team, the comparison of having those different AD carries?
So Eminem actually is a more kind of steady and, like a more steady type of player. Like he can try to, we don't need to play around him, and he can still kind of do his things, and maybe sometimes when we try to play around him, and he can carry the game, right? But for Wako, like we will try to play around him bet more in the future, because we didn't do that great job during the regular season, to be honest. And he's a kind of more aggressive one during laning or maybe even during team fights, right? So that's one of the biggest difference from both of them. And also Wako is more focused, like during the comms, during the communications, he will try to like give us direction more during maybe the fights or maybe some macro things. So yeah, it's kind of pretty good.
Okay, interesting. Now, Jimien, I got another question, more of a fun question, I suppose. So, as a mid laner, a lot of what you do in the game is play with your jungler. You have prio, you go around with your jungler and do things. What was the difference between having Gemini as your jungler and having Kaiwing as your jungle against the Hellpigs the first time you went up against them?
Oh. It's a hard question.
From my perspective, it's more like the angle that they start is kind of different, because although in the game, like from League of Legends, there's a 5v5, and especially you need the jungle and support duo very hardly, right?
Yeah.
So Kaiwing did really know about many jungles, jungle, like how to play, how to do everything things, but some micro things, of course, he can't do the best. Yeah. So like the starting point, like the difference is the starting point, or maybe something like that.
Sure.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah, Kaiwing's Sejuani was insanely good. It was kind of impressive, you know, to see them swap roles and both just perform very well anyway. It was awesome to see, and like you get to do it, right? You're against Hellpigs, Godtone in the support position. You're not too worried really about losing that game. So yeah, have a bit of fun with it. I remember the interview. It was like Kaiwing in the interview, right? And he's just like, oh, I really wanted to play support, and luckily Jimien let me, so I got to play. Wanted to play jungle, and luckily Jimien let me, so we got to play a game of jungle. Myself and Lo thought it was so funny.
Yeah, because during his early career, like before he start pro, he's like a jungle main and then a support secondary role, something like that. And he chose to play support to start a pro.
Sort of another question is, Yi Jiang is always playing the 1v1. Is that just because sort of no one else really wants to, or is it because he's so good at 1v1ing that you just want to keep him in, give yourselves a better opportunity to have that sort of first pick of side selection?
You should ask him now. I always try to encourage if you like more kind of like everyone try to play one time at least, because I think it's a very good experience, or special experience, I would say. And sometimes, to be honest, during the regular season, the side select is not that very kind of too important, I would say.
Yeah.
You know. So I actually encourage them try to, but then just say no. Yeah. So
it's not wanting
I want to know why to.
Jimien, why don't you want to do the 1v1s?
I want to play Yasuo 1v1.
Oh, like Taco do the 1v1 Yasuo matchup?
Used to be Yasuo Master.
Oh, you used to be Yasuo Master. Okay. Was it one trick pony?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I remember that also. Because actually, back in the days when Jimien first started his pro career at in HK, I'm one of his first coach also. And we have the small Yasuo tournament during that time. And I remember that he won it, actually.
Oh, okay. Would you take, no, I don't know, obviously, if you play with the sort of summoners or the runes and whatnot in English or in Mandarin, but maybe you know the difference of the fleet footwork and Conqueror. So we've seen two Yasuo 1v1s, right? And Betty took Conqueror. Everyone else has taken fleet footwork. Which of the two runes do you think is best for the 1v1?
I think fleet footwork is better than Conqueror. If you play, if you use good. Yeah.
All right. I'll let you guys go very shortly, but I'll ask one more question before I'll let you obviously go. I'm sure you got scrims and practice ahead of the playoffs. Now, is your expected result to come second? Obviously, I'm almost certain it will be. And what do you think needs to change between the regular season and the playoffs for you to definitely secure yourselves at the World Championship?
So for me, I think we need to be more tight, because as you know, we actually always start very good during the first game, because during the first half of our regular season, if PCS is just a best of one, then we are going 7-0.
Yeah.
We'll be the best team in the region. Yeah, but most of the time when we have second games, the second and third games we are not that good in live transaction. And ready maybe have some better preparation. I mean, that's one of our weaknesses. And yeah, I mean, we just try to do better on that. Then we should be good in playoff. But at the same time, I know that every other teams will try to be better and do their best. So it's a tough competition.
Of course, it is going to be tough. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me on this. I hope. Obviously, I hope your playoffs go well. Frank are one of the most exciting teams, at least for me to view. I really enjoy watching your games. I'm a big fan of Jimien's as well as yourself, Skywalker, and the rest of the crew. I've always been a big fan of Wako, and it's great to see him come into the team so well. So I'm sure heading into the playoffs, you guys are going to do well. I wish you all the luck in the world. And once again, thank you very, very much for joining us. If you have anything you guys would like to say, you can feel free to say it now as well.
Just please keep supporting us. Although our result is not that great this season, but yeah, I have faith that we can go to Worlds.
Awesome.